is retired.
Really?
Yeah, and I know they ain't retiring Sheed. No, that's not happening. But
the all-time technical leader of money payer,
out of pocket,
out of pocket dude. They gotta put. I think you gotta put Tay and Roscoe both up there.
Sheed ain't getting in. We'll see Rip before we see Sheed.
We'll see, man.
But Tay gets his.
Okay.
Tay
yeah, I agree with that.
But and that's my argument is if you put him in, then you know that Prince has to go up there then because the roles were almost identical except he was actually an offensive presence.
And Tay was more committed to the team. Like he was willing to stick around through all the crap, and they only traded him out because it was straight. Like they're like, look, we're blowing this thing up.
Right.
It's not gonna work. Do you want to try to win? So.
Yeah, they did him a favor in that regard. I just thought that was interesting, man. Like I said, Billups and Wallace both will be retired. Both jerseys will be retired. So look, let's get into this season, man. The opening week, we're sitting here now. I can't see the score on this. What is it?
99-83 Cleveland.
Okay, and what is it? A little under 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
I'm hearing rumblings that Miami is the truth. Brad, I come to you first, B. What's your thoughts on the Heat being for real, and can Riley avenge the LBJ departure?
You remember when we talked about the off-season acquisitions, and I told you that I felt like Miami was had one of the bigger off seasons just by keeping Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade is one of the few guards or veterans in this league that I think you can bring a young guy in and a young guy can actually learn. And I think Justice couldn't have asked for another guy, similar situation coming out of college, similar skill set. Justice probably has better offensive game. Wade had a better defensive game, but they can work with each other and get to somewhere by February, March, where they can be a serious contender. When you look at the depth, you look at Chris Bosh, you look at Hassan Whiteside, I think Miami is absolutely legit. And I think that this first couple months, you'll see runs here and there, probably be much better at home and struggle on the road as in tonight. But with that mentorship of D Wade, I think that's invaluable for Justice.
Damn, it looks like Justice only had 2 points tonight.
There's a guy named
17 minutes. Well, that's true, but 17 minutes of action, 2 points.
Highlights.
Mess around and get hoops and hops soon. 25 points for D Wade. Ding had 10 points. Chris Bosh 16. Whiteside 9, and Dragic another 9. A couple of contributors from the bench. McRoberts only had 2 points. So that's like you just said. That's a road game for your bench, and that's why they didn't show up. But I like to see it, come later in the season because that's what the prediction is by some of the NBA insiders. What's your thoughts on it, G?
Nah. I think Miami probably ends up 4, maybe 5. Look, I think they have a legit team,
right?
But I don't. Now, look, anything can happen in the playoffs. It's all about matchups. But while I kind of like, I listened to that pod that you guys did where you were talking about that, but I don't think Wade. He's more of a liability now. Like he's entering Kobe Bryant status.
Okay.
All right, where you have done so much for the team that they have to almost hamstring themselves in order to repay you, because he's gonna get some more money before this is all said and done. Like Wade's gonna hem them up, but I think them keeping Goran Dragic was huge. I think Goran Dragic is, let's say, he's definitely top 10 point guards right now.
I agree with that.
And I think that in the East, particularly with them having the option to go small with Bosch at the 5 and him really stretch out the floor. They'll win games that they probably shouldn't. But come playoff time, I don't think it's gonna work. I still don't believe in Hassan Whiteside. Like, this dude, now what are we saying he's supposed to be? Like, are we saying that he's just going out there and is gonna rebound and play defense? Sure, he can do that. But a lot of guys can do that. All right, like he's being touted as this like reincarnation. This dude bounced around the D-League for a long time. He was on teams and got kicked off of them. It just so happened they didn't have anybody else to play that position last year, and he got an opportunity. All right, like it was more time and chance to me than pure skill set.
The jury or the verdict is still out on Whiteside for me, and like you said, I felt like he did a lot in non-critical game times last year, but to me, there's some hope there. There's some promise there, some potential that I want to see what happens with it, because it's guys such as which total different animal, but Perkins. Perkins was in a good position and never did nothing
exactly
except for snarl and
that's what I mean. Like, and that's a real good like. Perk never had the rebounds that Whiteside has, but similar. Like, you're going to come in, you're going to body somebody, you're going to lean on somebody, and you're going to be an intimidator. What's Perk doing now? Yeah. Like, that didn't work out.
The big disappointment I see here looking at it is Josh McRoberts had 13 minutes and only scored 2 points.
I never liked that pickup from first.
I like McRoberts.
I like McRoberts too. I think McRoberts is okay.
I'm not knocking him as a player, but when I look at chemistry,
I agree with you.
You don't have a team that has the Atlanta mindset where they move the ball. This is why I think
it's not a swing.
The thing that I look at when I look at Hassan and him on Miami, when you look at the rebounds, the block shots, and you compare that to the rest of the players playing power forward and center, whether they're on a team that's good or bad, the numbers are impressive regardless. And if you took his name off the sheet and you put the top 10 centers, power forwards in the NBA, and then you look at who actually is putting the numbers up, his numbers are impressive regardless. But the thing about it is the team that he plays on, they don't need anything else. They don't need him to be in the lane. I watched a few seconds of this game, and they were talking about him wanting to trying to command the ball. Very similar to what Chris Webber said last night about DeAndre Jordan. Jordan made that comment, I'm not involved in the offense. You don't want to be involved in the offense. You don't want to have some extra weight on your back. Hassan Whiteside, you have Wade, you have Dragan, which you said, a top point guard. He's a scoring point guard. You need a guy to board, get dunk tips, get tip outs. They don't need him to do much more.
They're not selling him like that, though. But look, we got to move on. Kind of establish where we are on the Heat. I'm gonna come back to this next. I'm gonna move one topic down. Better seasons. Oklahoma City's Billy Donovan, new face. Chicago's Fred Hoiberg, new face, won his debut game versus Cleveland and David Blatt. New Orleans, Alvin Gentry, a veteran coach, but in a new place with some young talent that's all beat up right now. And then New York Knicks, D-Fish, he might as well be a rookie because he didn't get a lot done last year. Let's make this a quick one, fellas. Put a shot clock on this. Who has a better season out of those four?
I'm gonna say Hoiberg, just because I think that there's more already in place, in the sense that all he's going to do is teach Chicago how to score. Like the defensive mentality is already there. Tibbs drilled that into them. Billy Donovan's not going to have a bad season. I'd say he'd probably be my second pick. I just don't believe in the Thunder for a lot of reasons that I won't get into right now, but yeah, I'd say Hoiberg. And as long as this Joakim Noah thing works out, as long as Joakim coming off the bench doesn't just destroy the chemistry on that team, Yeah, I think Chicago's going to be better.
I got it reversed. I like Billy Donovan, but my question is, when you say success, are you speaking in terms of
wins, losses?
Yeah, wins and losses, where you finish.
I could have defined
because in the Western Conference,
right,
more wins could very well put you in the 6th seed versus where Chicago ends up at. So
that was my thought too.
Yeah, so I don't exactly know which way it's being measured, but in my opinion, I think for the same reason you said Chicago's talent, and I feel like OKC's talent. I think Kevin Durant has something to prove this year, and I think he's going to be more inclined to listen this season and work on what they ask him to work on, because there's a lot of talking going on amongst who's even the best player on this team. Even though Westbrook, as much as I don't like Westbrook, I really thought that what he said was great. To say Kevin Durant is the best player in the world. Yes. Yeah. I thought that was a pretty great thing to say.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Billy Donovan having a better season, because that's a tough one, because he is in the West. It's a lot of stuff going on there, because Durant is up against free agency, and the media is already trying to move Kevin Durant to where they would like to see him play, and the team that they would like to see him on. Hoiberg might be in the best position. I guess I go with Hoiberg having the bigger impact. But before we move to this next
side of the fence.
Yeah, I'm on there. But do you think that, before we move to this next question, do you think that the relationship between Westbrook and Durant, what do you believe it is? Do you think these guys are trying to be friends? Do you think it's genuine?
I don't know enough. I don't see enough to say.
We're not in the locker room.
But from what I've seen on the outside, like I said, even if it hasn't been, when you look at Durant and you look at how he feels when he sees that man make that statement, you say, you know what, I'm willing to put in a little bit of extra effort if you're willing to really say to say this out here to try to make it. That was an ego thing. That was to try to make him feel good. I need you in order for me to be successful. Real quick to Hoiberg, one thing I'll say, I also think Donovan has less teaching. Chicago was the mini LeBron offense last year. Right. You saw in the playoffs, Derrick Rose. So what you were saying about the offense, I think Hoiberg has more work. He has to try to teach. Not only does he have to get Noah to buy into coming off the bench, he also has to get the offense. Look, we can't stand stagnant. We can't just watch D Rose. And that's been D Rose's game since he came in the league. That's been Chicago's game since they drafted him. Even with Jimmy Butler's, even with talented, Noah, Gasol, the shooters, can he make Doug McDermott work? Because I think his system would actually benefit Doug McDermott. So I think Herbert has a job. He has a bigger job than Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan just has to make them guys. It's more just philosophical. You guys are the best team. You are already great.
That's why I picked Shido. I think that there's more potential. I think you can get more out of that Chicago roster than you can.
I agree with you on that one. I do.
Yeah.
But I just think it's a longer... I job. And I think maybe if you say when it's all said and done, which team will be better, I might lean towards Chicago. Plus, you also have this issue of, can we supplant Cleveland?
Right.
Which OKC is in a deep conference as well. But I think when you throw those two guys on the court, you already move into playoffs. So,
all right, this is kind of one that I threw out here. Harrison Barnes, I don't want to suggest that he is on the same level, the same player, difference maker as a James Harden, but he's a guy coming off the bench. He had a big impact on the last few games in the finals,
a huge impact,
and pushed him over the top, in my opinion, to win that series, because he was scoring inside versus all the jump shots that were being taken.
Rebound,
but he only signed up for the 1 year. Do you think it's a possibility for Barnes to go out and say, "Hey, I want to forge my own career, my own legacy. I'm not about this fourth option life or this bench life." Do you think he's a guy that goes out like James Harden and possibly, just tries to take command of his own career? And how successful would he be if he did that?
Well, I think a lot of that would depend on situation. Like
Yeah, he needs to choose